I was raised here in Rock Springs, moved away right out of high school to Phoenix, moved back to Rock Springs about 12 years ago, I guess, and been working in the community, and I started with the hospital about 5 years ago. When I moved to Phoenix, after the birth of my second child is when I was diagnosed with cancer. Probably initially there was a lot of denial. I didn't believe it. One of the physicians I worked for had me get the slides, and he took it to several of the hospitals that he was on staff at and got probably about 2 or 3, 4 or 5 maybe different opinions to make sure that because it was a stage 4 already by the time I was diagnosed. And we just wanted to make sure that what they were saying needed to be done. So arrangements had to be made to have family come down and help take care of the kids. My husband at the time was working. I had to make arrangements with my job because I was working full-time as well. And we knew I was going to be off for, initially for the testing part before you're diagnosed. There were different tests that required you to be off for a few days. So we had to plan all that with office hours at the doctor's office I worked at, because I was the only person there. I was the front office, the back office, and everything. So I was very lucky that my boss was, he was more like family, and wanted to help me through it. So we were able to work through that. We arranged for my parents to come down and help take care of the kids for at least, I think they were there for a week, maybe 10 days, to kind of help me and help me with the kids. After the surgery, I had to have a hysterectomy. And you don't do a lot of walking, you don't do a lot of sitting up by yourself, so there was no way I could have taken care of 2 little kids. I remind my kids all the time to, you need to go to your regular checkups, because it can happen at any age. Cervical cancer is very, very common, because it's caused by a virus that's sexually transmitted. So whether you have one partner or 5 partners, the reality of it is how many partners have they had, because it doesn't necessarily, I don't think it necessarily affects the men, so they may not even know that they have it. I had no symptoms. I had no idea. They have vaccines now that you can get for that virus for younger girls, and I would recommend that that they do whatever they can to help prevent it. I was married and had kids at the time when I found out, that I was diagnosed with cancer, and I don't think any of my tests before that showed the virus, so I'm not sure if they were testing for it back then or not. Because the result of the surgery is that you can't have any more children. So I was lucky. I had 2 children, and later we were able to adopt 2 boys. So, we've had some family experiences over the years where some of our relatives have had cancer or had some suspicious testing, and I'm not a wait-and-see kind of person now. I think I wanted to be when I was diagnosed. That's why we had so many people check it. But why mess with it? My mom just went through a horrific experience last year where her sister died of cancer, and she was kind of trying to decide whether to go visit her or, wait and just be with her. Those, she may not remember it because she was so sick, but you'll remember it. Don't wait. It's not something you want to gamble with. The cancer center itself, I think, is a huge asset to our community. when I was in Phoenix and I was diagnosed, I got to go home. I didn't have to stay somewhere that was strange. I didn't have to stay in a hotel or a camp trailer that I took somewhere and parked. I can't imagine having to do that, dealing with any hardship, not being in an environment that you're comfortable with. I think that being in an environment that you know you can go home, you can be in your own bed, you can have all of your family and friends around you, not those that can just make it because of the timing, is huge when it comes to recovery. Recovery is not only medical, it's mental. You have to have some positive thoughts and things going on in your life to be able to recover. And I think that being at home where you're comfortable is huge for people who have to go through cancer treatment. The relay is very meaningful, I think, not just to survivors, but to caregivers. I think that they deserve a lot of credit, and maybe they don't get as much. They are the people that probably help you through the hardest times in your life, and probably they feel pretty helpless. It's not something that you can just wash off and it's going to go away. Remember that, to thank them. And I've been involved in Relay for Life probably this will be my 4th year. And the first year that I went, the overwhelming emotional feeling was crazy. Other people who experience it, who've helped other people go through it, people who just believe in, hey, let's fight cancer. There are people involved who have no experience with cancer. And that to me is it's a pretty powerful thing, to see a community come together. They say that, I've heard a lot of times that people say that people with cancer and who survive cancer are the heroes, but I think that the caretakers are the heroes. To have to watch your loved ones go through something like that is pretty. I think a lot of us who have any kind of hardship in life want to be strong, don't want to ask anybody for help, don't want to rely on anybody, but you need to let your family help, you need to let your friends help. They can help you in so many ways, and it helps them in so many ways. They are your family and your friends and your backbone, and they're there for you, and you need to let them be there for you. And it's hard to do when you're independent and you're, I was raising a family by myself. I didn't have any family down there. I didn't want to ask them to come. I wanted to be able to do it myself, but I knew I couldn't. And I'm very grateful that they were there for me, and family is really important.